Did you have anything you wanted to share, or is this, no? Okay. Okay.
I will say that we are rerouting the trolley
Yes.
because of construction on Collins Street, and there may be a small reroute, but it won't affect the bus stop on Central because of the town.
We can get to that piece, just, yeah. Awesome, thank you. Okay, everybody, good morning. Welcome to the May meeting of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Meeting. Will, I got it right for a change, so you've been persistent in trying to change the error of my ways, but thank you. So thank you all for being here. I know Brad can't be here. He's helping out with his mom, and Dan is actually participating in a veterans event with the Nationals that he and a team were sponsoring to get vets to go to the game and have a nice night out. So he's involved with that. So as always, this is going to be, we have a lot of charts, but I apologize, but this is really very much a working meeting, right? We're going to go through and cover a lot of things. We have a lot of logistics that we want to cover and planning for our efforts, so we'll go through those pretty quickly. So that'll be sort of our format. We will certainly be open for comments from the audience that are here, but again, this is just want to sort of set this up. This is literally a working meeting for us, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, Will. So the agenda we put together is the same one that was published. I did make one upgrade to it since this was posted, and that's we'll get an update on the Del Dot Route 1 initiative south of Indian River. But I think the rest of this is per the public announcement we sent out. So do we have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I so move.
Thank you, Carl. Second, thank you. Can we take a vote? Yes, okay, thank you, appreciate it. Second part of the agenda is to cover the meeting notes from our April meeting. I couldn't be here for that, but we do have that posted. Christy, as always, thank you for giving us that, keeping that up to date with that. That's awesome. So this is just, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I think one of the things that's important was, or the whole thing's important, but particularly with the police department, and it was the report that Captain or Chief Foley, Dan, and Deputy Chief Norman went to a workshop in Wilmington, I think it was, sponsored by Del Dot, around sort of public safety, pedestrian safety, and got some good learnings from that, good gleanings, but also Bethany got a lot of nice publicity for the efforts that we have been putting forward. So that was nice to sort of see a little positive reinforcement. So the rest of the notes really speak to the, particularly the focus areas that we've been working on. We're going to work on that today. So do we have a motion to accept the...
One small change. Mark with a C rather than a K.
Mark with a C rather than a K. All right. And you know what? I think there's also, Chrissy, there's also one place in here where arts is, it's in there as driver rather than diver. Thank you. It's in there. I'm sorry. I should have changed it before. It's correct in one spot. It's incorrect in the other. So we'll clean that up. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. So do we have a motion to it?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Diane? Thank you. Vote? Okay. Looks like it's unanimous. Super. Okay. So what I wanted to do, this is our safety contact, and I was going to show a video today, but I had a tough time getting it to load the right way. So I'll save that for another time if it's appropriate. But I just went to a couple sites and just to try to put in perspective the work we're doing around, particularly around pedestrian safety. And this is a perspective, and I think this was from the safekids.org news or link. But it talks about the progress we're making at the top of that, the good news in terms of reduction in death rate, injury rate, and kids under 5 to 9, all in the positive direction. But in the middle, and this is something, that's what really grabbed me, right? This is the whole idea of the at-risk behaviors, particularly of teens, folks that are focused on They have their iPods, they have their phones, they have their headphones. They have great skills so they can bike with no hands on the handling wheel while they're talking and walking and reading.
Drinking something at the same time.
And drinking something at the same time. All skills that I have none of. But what it really speaks to is, the connection here between that and maybe the things that, and again, the takeaway from that is maybe the things we can try to focus on going forward, which I know this is not new, but it was sort of interesting that it popped up. And the last one's an interesting one. This talks about 61 kids hit every day in the United States by a car. Now, that's not a fatality, but that's just being hit by a car reported. So think about the risk of that, right? And we're going to have a time where we're going to have a lot of kids, particularly in neighborhoods, in our public areas. So again, just to help focus us going forward. And the last one is just another perspective, and I'm not going to dwell on this, but other than to speak to the whole issue around that we started with WAVE, right? This is another take on that. And I know it's sort of hard to see from probably looking at that, but it really gets at, and this is probably one of the charts, Diane, you were saying was hard to read, right? But it really gets at, if you think about on the right-hand side, that's really what we're doing with WAVE in a way, right? Wait, watch, evaluate, verify, and then go ahead and enter the intersection. Those are just an expansion of that, but it really looks at some interesting data, and this is what's on the left-hand side of that. So 1 in 4 high school student crosses the street while distracted, okay? Back to the original thing, the previous chart. Does that surprise anybody?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Crossing someplace other than an intersection counts for 70% of child pedestrian deaths. Right? So you think about the intersections being at risk, it's the people, and particularly kids, crossing in places other than our intersections, right? So again, I was thinking about let's make sure we can do things to get people to the safer zone, which is the intersection. 3/4 of teen pedestrian deaths occur between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. at night, right? When all kinds of other activities are going on, but obviously low visibility is one. Right, again, things to think about. The fifth one, sidewalks can reduce pedestrian crashes by almost 90%, right? So think about the initiatives we've had over the years, and particularly what we're working on right now on the Collins Street pathway to try to address that and help make that better. The last one, number 7, is 80% of pedestrians die when hit by a vehicle when traveling at 40 miles per hour faster, and a lot smaller percentage when it's 20 miles an hour or less. So all the efforts we put in, our council has been really supportive of this, trying to lower speed limits, all the traffic calming efforts, right? So again, this isn't new. This is just sort of a reminder to sort of stimulate our thinking for the rest of the meeting. Any thoughts, comments, additive?
I think they're good.
Well, I think it's excellent. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I think this gets to several points right around town. I mean, again, there are areas here, because of the nature of the way things are laid out, where there's no sidewalk. And you just have to be, vigilant when you're, on that stretch. And again, just reiterating the message here, I think is great.
Right.
So if there's a way we can kind of communicate some of these points, or maybe even the chart out to people, I think that might be very helpful. Because again, as you mentioned, I mean, distracted walking is just as much of a problem as distracted driving.
Right.
And especially when things get busy here in the summer, I think if we can just make people more aware of their surroundings, I think we'll be much better off. And then the second point here, again, about looking both ways when you come up to cross an intersection or a highway, I think is really critical.
Right.
I went to the dentist this morning, and I came out of their parking lot down there, and again, there's a nice sign right at the entrance saying, again, before proceeding, look both ways.
Right.
Just to be sure that, there's not bikers, walkers, somebody coming from another direction. And I think that's just a very important message that we can convey. And I know I've seen a couple signs, I think, around town where they do say, again, look both ways before crossing.
Yep.
And again, when in the future we may want to consider perhaps expanding those signs to other locations, just to, again, reinforce the message that, you just need to be aware of what's going on, and I can't assume that the only vehicles or pedestrians are coming from one direction or the other, even though the highway may only be heading in one direction. There could be other people coming from another direction. So again, I think this is very valuable, and I really appreciate you sharing it with us.
Right.
Yeah, you know,
Super. Go ahead, Diane.
I think it'd be important if we could somehow put this out to the community, just in blurbs. What is the app that you were talking about? I mean, something so, I mean, because this is something when, if you see it enough, it starts to seep in.
Yeah.
Because I know even running, sometimes I'm not looking both ways when the cars are coming. Now I sort of peek to make sure that car is going to stop before I cross, because they're only looking one way.
Right.
I was on Route 1 yesterday riding, and a lady was trying to cross Route 1. The car in the right lane stopped. She walked out and was almost hit by someone in the left lane who never stopped. And I think we need to emphasize that both lanes have to be stopped before you actually can walk across the street.
Right.
Well, Route 1 in particular.
Yeah,
Yep.
You got to peek.
Yeah, I think the
around
key
that
is to
corner.
make the eye contact. You can't assume that somebody's going to stop. Again, I think the
Yeah.
beacons are wonderful, and I think they help us avoid a lot of problems. But again, they're not 100%. There's still a lot of people that go right through them, and I've seen, several times where somebody nearly got hit because the beacon was on, they figured they were safe to cross, and somebody just came flying right through.
Yeah.
So again, I think they're helpful, and I'm glad they're there, and I'm glad we're doing more of them. And I guess it's just a matter of time that we educate people. But again, at the moment, you just can't assume.
No.
Right.
You always need to make eye contact and be sure.
Right.
So that was an excellent point.
So again, the idea here is we can talk amongst ourselves, and it's really reinforcing and sort of energizing, but our challenge is we got to get the message out, right?
Yep.
So every opportunity we have, whether it's a formal dialogue with somebody, whether it's a presentation, just to talk to people, right? And the conversations, the discussions will go where they need to go, but there's a bunch of points we can come back to reiterate it, and because what we're really trying to do is change somebody's behavior, not when Chief Foley happens to be standing there, or the mayor happens to be out, or Teresa's out on the corner. It's when they're there, when no one's there, right? And passing that down to family and friends. So this is all, what I really liked about it is it really becomes good fodder for us to include in other efforts going down the road. So good, great discussion. Thanks everybody. So the next chart is just to move into the sort of the middle part of our program today, and it will start with the leadership reports. Our Assistant Town Manager, Terry Thielman, has a comment. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Mickey. One of the things we're doing this summer with the trolley is rerouting the trolley off of Collins Street as long as construction is taking place. So we're actually editing all of our pamphlets for that portion of time so that the trolley riders can get it and they'll know it. The other thing is there's construction, the county has construction on Central Avenue, and so we are having to take a short detour, but the pickup spot will stay the same. So on Collins Street, the trolley the stop is being relocated from where it's originally at to the corner of Collins and Half Moon. So everyone can pick the trolley up just a little bit further west than they usually do, and then the route will just be slightly changed. But that's all on the pamphlet, and we've sent notices to all the affected parties on Collins Street Pathway Project, and it's posted on our website so that everyone can see it.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it. Any comments? Okay, great. Mark?
Do we have do you have an idea when the project will be finished, or soon? I know, but
I wish I could look into a crystal ball and say that. I could make lots of money if I had one. But we're hoping by the end of, I think sometime in June. I am not the person to ask that question to.
The notice that went out, it said mid-June.
Mid-June,
That's for Collins Street, and then
weather is good.
we also have the one up the county project with the
And
sewer.
they're thinking most of this work will be done up there within a week, so we're not that concerned about the Central Avenue one.
Great. Thank you, Terry, appreciate it. From the police report, Chief Foley, I love the sound of that, Chief Foley.
Chief Foley,
Can't be here today, he's attending another workshop, but he did want me to pass on, or us to pass on, that There have been 6 accidents in town since we last met, when we last met, which would have been mid-April. And only one of them involved a bicycle, and that was actually a cyclist who was on an electric bike. It happened in the evening around midnight and was actually under the influence. So he or she,
UDI, huh?
yeah,
Allegedly under the influence.
allegedly under the influence, okay. But fell, right? And going home at night. So again, if we think about things we could do to try to prevent and get ahead of that, there's a whole number of things. But it,
Well, and a reminder that you can get a DUI when you're biking and not just when
yes,
you're driving.
yes, that's actually yes, that
This
was
person was cited.
right, right.
That's interesting. That's good.
You don't think about that as on a bike, but evidently that's exactly what happened. So that was the only report, I think, from Sergeant Foley. Again, I mean, Chief Foley. But again, really great feedback from the work that had gone at the public workshop that DelDOT sponsored in April that some of our team attended. So, and activities and events. Julie, anything you want to share now, or did you want to wait till
busy weekend.
whatever?
Oh, Julie has a lot of stuff.
Yes.
We are official. Look at this.
Oh,
Ready?
look at that.
Tracy, you want to help me?
Yes.
Our table,
It's upside down.
oh,
Oh,
look
no,
at
this
that.
is one. So this is our table cover.
How long is this?
Wait a minute. This is
hold
the
on.
front. This is the front.
Yeah.
That's the front.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
So we
Oh, that
set up
looks
any
great.
of
Right.
our events.
We're
We'll have
fancy
a-
now.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're represented. So that's the table cover. It has it on the side too.
Yes. So we will use a Sunday.
Yes, we're launching Sunday, and also this is the giveaway. We got bags,
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's great.
and the T-shirt is in it,
Right.
Oh,
and wave for sure.
New to this, is the old one, yeah.
So
picked one up.
you know, we are out there.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Awesome. So again, great, thank you. This is, you know what's really cool about this is this was an idea, and I want to give credit to Dan, who I think
Yeah.
originally
Right.
fostered the idea of WAVE, right? And that was almost 2 years ago. And, you know, it was one of those things, okay, that sounds cool, but it's only so cool if it takes legs and grows, you know, wings and flies, like, you know? And this is an example of that, and I think we're all trying to add to that idea and talk to people about it and engage people. So our only commitment, right, to get a bag at the Poseidon event is you got to talk to somebody. Somebody's got to engage with us
Okay.
and have a conversation about pedestrian, bike, or some kind of safety, and we'll give them a bag, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And if anybody's willing to put some bags together before Sunday, you know,
Okay.
that's great.
Yeah.
Whenever you can. They're all still under the steps. The shirts are, and then we have the bags. So
When do you need us?
you didn't give them all away.
I tried.
That's right. You brought some. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a count on what we have. I think roughly we still have 400 shirts left,
Okay.
so we're good.
Yeah,
So-
we didn't take them
for the summer.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just a reminder, I haven't even gotten one myself, but let's make sure,
I don't have
and,
I know.
yeah, let's make sure all the team members grab one.
Yeah.
And that's great. So again, just a nice connect point. So thank you, Julie.
Yeah, and also 4th of July, Chief Foley is giving the bike table 100 bike lights to hand out as part of the supplies that we hand out to the bikers that show up.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. And Diane, you had mentioned stickers. Do you still want stickers for that table?
I
the
mean, if
helmets?
we want to put them on their helmets, I mean, you were thinking about maybe having a little contest or something, but that's fine. If we're putting the lights on.
Yeah.
If we could get the stickers, that would be great to give them.
Just to have something.
Have the kids put them on. And we could, even when they line up on the side street, we could go down and give them a sticker for their
Okay.
helmet. What do you think?
It's great. Is that something, do we have the stickers, or do we need to order
No,
those?
you can get them pretty quickly.
Okay.
We'd have to
All
get
right.
them
Well,
printed.
if we can get them, fine. If not, we can do it another time.
Yeah. Julie, let me ask a question. Just, do we need some kind of, do I need to do, or Teresa and I do need to do something with the council and funding or anything, or do
For
we?
budgeting, I mean, we are putting out some money. We
Okay.
have since last year, so
We'll-
it's
we'll
probably
re-
a good idea to
We'll
budget that.
reconnect and make sure we get that on the
Yep.
plate. I'm sorry, I meant to do that
Yep.
before, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So what we want to do is now is we'll move into our updates from the various focus areas. So the first, these are just for those of you've seen this chart, you're getting so tired of seeing it. But it really was what, again, just think about it. This is what we developed in October roughly of last year, thinking ahead to this year. And we're starting to work on these things, and Will be, I'm sure, our list will look a little different next year, maybe add to it, maybe we'll refine it. But this is a really nice example of divide and conquer. All the members of the team were doing their pieces on all these, so it's really fantastic to be associated with this with all of you all. So we'll just go through some of these. This is our famous spreadsheet that Art has brought to life again. But this is really critical. You can't see it right now, but the importance is these are all the activities we have, and we're trying to think about how to make sure that our staffing for that is sufficient, right? So what I would offer you, I'm not going to go through this in detail. Just 1 second, Carl. I'm not going to go through it in detail right now, but I just ask you, please take a look at it and give your feedback to times and blocks directly to Art, and he'll be our keeper of the magic scroll for us, okay? And that'll just help us be aligned with, and there'll be some things that, for example, I think we were talking about even times for specific segments of time within an event, so that we can sort of spread the load a little bit or around everyone's availability. Carl?
Can we get a copy of that chart somehow? So, I mean, we have it, and you can actually see the days that we signed up for, either hard copy or, just on your,
Can I email it to you this afternoon?
yeah, email would be fine.
Email
I'll
it to
send you
us.
the.
That's
That'd be wonderful.
I sent Mickey, and I don't know, do you make any updates? to
I
what
only
sent?
put my name in on some stuff.
And
yeah.
would this be something that could be updated, like we could add to it
can add
and
our
it would
name.
show up, or we come to you?
Yeah.
I think you'd have to go to Art. It's not a Google Doc.
Okay.
So you have to go to Art and he can update it
Okay,
and then
that's
send
fine.
it out.
Okay.
Okay, I'll send.
Yeah,
send
if you
it
can
to
just, again, if you make a change to it, I'd be more than happy to incorporate the change. If you can just indicate what the change is, whether it's
Okay.
red text or highlight the block or whatever, just so I can see what the difference is. And then I can put it into the larger spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, I guess my question would be in terms of just looking at the activities are, again, I believe we have, Teresa, Diane, Carl, and Mickey signed up for covering the Poseidon Festival this weekend, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, great. And then if I can just jump back a little bit to the Ocean to Bay Bike Tour event.
Okay.
I thought that went successfully. It was interesting, I wasn't quite sure what to expect on Friday afternoon. And I think originally when Diane and Teresa were there, I think it was kind of slow at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it just gradually picked up over the course of the afternoon. And again, I don't know exactly how many people participated, but they told me at one point they were expecting, I guess, over 2,200 people. So, it was a good turnout. And despite the cooler weather on Saturday morning, I think that the event was successful. Awesome. But I think it was good that we had a presence there, just to, again, reinforce the safety message. And what I found actually was Friday afternoon, the number of people coming over to talk actually increased as the day went on.
Oh,
And I think a lot of people came in at the very end of the day to register for the event and pick up their stuff. And in turn, that gave me an opportunity to speak with any number of people. But we did run out of T-shirts in a couple of sizes, and we were down to, I think, one T-shirt, just one XL left. And I think all the large and the mediums were gone.
This is the last large that we had.
That was the last.
So I thought it was worthwhile, and I would encourage the team to consider participating next year if we're given the opportunity.
Good.
So good discussions with people, and again, several people brought up the fact that they were very impressed, the fact that the town was making this effort to enhance safety and make sure everybody has a fun time but a safe time when they're here in Bethany.
Right.
So I thought that was great.
And just a comment, Art did a really nice job of sort of summarizing that for us to the team, in effect what he shared just now. That's really helpful because that's something we can archive, and then when we think about next year, we'll pull that right back out and go, okay, here's our reminders, here's what we want to tweak, here's what we want to do. So thank you, Art, for taking the lead on that.
No, I'm happy to. And I think you mentioned before about engagement. I think that that's the real key. I mean, if people are passing by, if you just kind of engage them in conversation and then work it into talking about safety and what we're doing, I think that worked out well. But I mean, I had to kind of, initiate conversations with people. But again, I wasn't, obnoxious about it. I was just trying to, say, how you doing? I would get something going, and then we would move into talking about wave and safety. And again, we had some really good conversations about things that are going on. So I think it worked out well. And again, free T-shirts is not a bad hook to bring people in, but then you have the conversation with them before you proceed. So in these large areas, especially if we're down on the boardwalk, I think it really does help us to make the effort to kind of reach out to people in a conversational way to get them into the discussion. So I think this is good. Poseidon Festival, again, I guess we're just covering for about an hour and a half then.
Yep.
So, but again, with the number of people down there, that could be very productive.
Right.
And then I guess, again, I mentioned in my email to you, I think it would be great if we could finalize the dates for the bike safety checkpoints over the course of the summer. What's on the spreadsheet is, again, just
We've done that.
hypothetically, what I was thinking of, just to kind of, space it out so they weren't like too close together, and probably, and at times enough that it would be there when the most people would benefit from it.
Right.
So,
So Art, I apologize. We had, I got pulled into a work thing yesterday after, but we do have those dates and times.
We do.
So we can build in. I meant to get back with you with that. My bad.
thank you. I just think it makes better planning
Yes.
for everybody
Yeah.
That
involved.
we could have somebody there the first hour, second hour, third hour kind of thing, if
Yeah.
that would work for
Yeah.
everybody, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Because you all have things you want to do with your family and friends, so.
And if it's
So
a
I
hot day, even if you've got the tent, it's, it's a lot asking to stay the
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah.
I can give you those dates and times now if you'd like.
Oh, fantastic, yes.
It's Thursday, July 25th
Okay,
from 8 to 11,
all right.
and then Thursday, August 8th from 8 to 11. And
Okay,
Chief
so we-
Foley picks those 2 days because per the realtors, those are the 2 busiest weeks.
Okay, so we've got 8 to 11 on the 25th of July and the 8th of August.
That's right.
And then we're going to be doing something similar on July 4th, is that correct? Or,
So, we
I was
talked
trying to figure
about
that
it.
out.
We talked about it. Chief Foley's not sure he'll, that's a lot of staff, I think, for him. I'm not
Okay.
sure that's, we can do it as a committee, but I don't know that we'll necessarily have their support.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm willing to do it if we, have the opportunity to discuss matters and distribute bike lights, which I think is a real, I
Yeah.
mean, from my experience last summer being down there on, was it Wellington Parkway, I guess it was, where we had the tent?
Right.
I mean, people were very interested in talking, especially when we were trying to help
Yes.
them. I mean, it was like,
Yes.
help us to help you, and especially the light distribution, I think was a great thing.
Yep.
So if we could do something like that on the 4th, that might be worth considering.
And maybe that's our event. Maybe that's what we do. We just tie it in with the parade.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Ah, good, excellent.
Right.
Okay, okay.
I mean,
Fantastic.
Julie said that Chief Foley has offered 100 bike lights, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah, and we already have a bike table that's set up. Maureen Gilmer runs that, so
Okay.
you
Awesome.
could set up right next to her, yeah.
Okay.
And one more note on the events, the craft show, June 1st, we have our booth assigned. There's specific load-in times, and I'll email that to everybody, so depending on who's working that day, you'll know when to show up and
Oh, wait.
be there.
So, per the spreadsheet, I think only Carl is currently signed up for the craft show.
And I can
And
be
did you
there as
sign
well.
yourself
I
up?
did, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need to sign myself up.
Yeah, I can do the craft show.
Okay, so we just have to pick some
Yeah,
times
and,
then.
Art, to your point, that's one that's really spread over,
That's a long
I
day.
don't know, what,
It's
7:30 to
is it
4?
10?
It's
10 to
10 to
4:30.
4:30 is the time of the show. Load-in time, it's depending on where your location is, so.
Okay,
Okay,
so maybe if we put 2-hour blocks or
Yes.
something like that, and we can
Yeah.
divide up and conquer a little
Even,
bit.
Oh, wait, graduation.
No, that's okay. No, I'm just who's available. And if,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and if for some reason we're all booked with other things, that's okay, folks. We're not trying to be,
right.
anything we can get is great.
and
So-
I'll be there all day, because I have to work
Yeah.
that show, so I can always set up the booth, and then you guys, so you don't have to be there at 6:30 or whatever, and just show up when the show opens,
Right.
Okay.
so.
The,
I'm so impressed with this banner. I think this is great.
It is
And
so
and
cool.
The tablecloth. But again, what I found when I've been talking with people at these gatherings is sometimes people see WAVE and they think it's the newspaper.
Right, or the radio
Ah,
station.
yep.
Right.
But that's good, they come up to
So
you.
I think this image here is really good.
Maybe,
because it
maybe Darren
differentiates
can
us.
work our table.
Right.
Maybe we
So-
get Darren to work our table.
That's right. Dan Rosenblatt had someone during the parade last year say they loved our radio station. When he was handing out wave brochures.
Yay, okay.
So I,
Just to add on a little bit about that bike safety checkpoint, DelDOT comes and they bring a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
To fix bikes and, work on them a little bit. But one of the things, if you're putting lights on, we always seem to not have enough Phillips head screwdrivers. So if you happen to be coming to that, just bring a Phillips head screwdriver and, of your own, and it'll just help,
Oh, that's good to know.
do a lot more lights at the same time.
I've shared this story before, but it amuses me, so I'm going to share it again. That this was at the craft fair last year, and we were didn't really have it very well organized, other than we'll show up, right?
Right.
We just had basically a table.
Yeah, and the weather was terrible.
And the weather was terrible, the wind's blowing, and the kids, our grandkids happened to be in the house, and they just did some like finger painting or something, right? And I literally had, okay, I'll bring that down. So I literally put that on the table, had it all locked down, and once one gentleman I'm just trying to create something that looks, and one gentleman walks by, and I could tell he looked at it, and then he sort of said to his, his spouse or significant other, said, "Wonder how much he's going to charge for the finger painting." And I'm like, well,
If you had known it was a possibility, right? You got to start that college fund.
yeah,
Get him
any-
to do one on Wave. Get him to do a Wave logo.
got to have fun. Okay, anything else, Art?
Well, I just, again, so on the Seaside Crafts, I've got Teresa, Mickey, Carl at the moment.
And
Right.
Mark,
And Mark, okay, great.
Yep.
So I'll add those and I'll update this chart and send it to you this
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yep.
Any of these other events that are coming up, like the Seaside Concert Series, I'm not sure when that begins. Do we need to
June
have
6th.
people start to sign up for that? Or are we too early?
June 6th, that'll be here when we blink, so 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Would
Yep.
you like assistance for showing up for that? Or, I mean, I don't know what the proposal is.
So, Art, this is one I think would be helpful to circle back. So I would suggest, let's hold where we are. We're going to get into talk about some of the things that the Wave 2.0 are looking at, and sort of offers up those as opportunities for us, right? So I think we'll want to come back and sort of expand it to create the dates, right, and who's
Yeah.
available and the times. But
If we-
we can just sort of do that offline
Right.
a
Yeah,
little
because if we
bit.
had the specific dates, we could check our
yeah,
calendars to be
a-
sure.
right.
Because saying for the
Right.
whole summer, you don't know.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, is that okay, Art?
that's
I mean, it's
perfect.
it's a great question, but I think we're gonna get into it in just a little bit more. Okay, so, the next one I wanted to cover, again, Chief Foley, he's gonna give me a hard time, I know that, well-deserved. Has really, as you know, has been extremely passionate about this. And he literally, I had goosebumps a few meetings ago when he was describing how important he thought this was. And
he's done a lot of work on this.
he's done a tremendous amount of work. This is while he's assuming additional responsibilities, obviously, the whole transition, amazing. But he's pulled this whole thing together, and we're going to have it on June 20th. It's in partnership with the fire department, if you will. And so that's all being worked on. I think he's just asking us if we can help out and have a presence there, flip burgers
Yeah.
in any way. So again, this will be an item we add to our,
It's on the list.
it's on the list already. I know I'm going to be out of town for business that day, but again, this is just a nice kudo for some hard work
June
and
20th.
sort of passion being brought in. Just think about the impact we're going to have with a lot of people, right?
I think he
it's
is
huge.
specifically looking for grill masters.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
Yep.
is
Yep.
low.
Happy to grill.
This is the lunch thing on June
It
20th.
is
yeah.
11 to 3.
Yeah.
11 to 3, okay, I got
Yeah.
that on my calendar.
I'm happy to flip burgers there.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect.
Yeah, we can, again, too.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
We'll
and I
have to
think
find
one-
out exactly how many people he needs. I'm not
Right.
sure we know.
Right. So I know I talked to Tim at Blue Crab about his support for this. Just in general, he was obviously very excited about it. I think one of our go-dos was to reach out to some of the other teams.
Right,
if
so
we
I
could-
think Chief Foley has the seasonals doing that.
Oh, so, okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, good. Super. So it's, again, really just a super effort, right? You really think about how do you create success, and it's really the model he's using. So hats off to the chief and his team. So now we'll get into Wave 2.0, and this is just our overview chart. So this is really cool. This is, I think, some work that Julie and Brad particularly, but Brad has got a lot of energy and passion around this, right? And think about how we can expand this to a lot of different offerings. So let me go. This is the same deck that I think we showed last time.
Yes.
But I don't think have been able to, have been able to go, I'm sorry. So this is just a little bit about our mission for this in terms of engaging people with creative ways of social media and the like. Again, the energy that he and Julie are bringing out on this is really cool. So it's how to connect with people. We've been talking a lot about conversation, so how do we build on that? How do we use visuals? How do we use other things? And I think it's so cool. So again, I love this summary that the team put together, because they're sort of focusing on different groups that we can engage with, right? And again, this is not to be all-inclusive. This is just the start. And so maybe we create a little short video, right? Literally using a camera, that demonstrates something like that we can show at a movie event, that we can show, so we'll have this whole range of things that we're working out. I know, Ron, you were here for our last council meeting. Like, one of the issues that got raised was one of the participants said, we need to do a better job of connecting with bicyclists that I think she was talking about
Someone came up behind
her on a bridge, right?
Right.
And so this could be a thing we add here to talk about, okay, would be proper etiquette and protocol, biker on the left, something, you just sort of say something like that to let everybody know. Because her concern, I think specifically, was it was an electric bike, so you couldn't hear it, right? And, but the beauty of this, right, again, is just we can add a number of different things to this as we learn, as we get different perspectives, and we'll just sort of add this to our library that we can use. So, Ron, please, if you would. Ron's got this down really well as a council member. Going to the podium, I mean.
Yeah. Just a suggestion, and I know it's not pertinent, it's certainly not pertinent today, but Collins Street is coming to a finish. It'll be operational here in the next couple weeks.
Yep.
I think a promotion of using that route to get people off of 26 might be a really good thing to do. And,
Yep.
and certainly our vacationers don't know that,
Yeah.
but and probably a lot of other people, they automatically think of walking down 26, kind of push them over to Collins.
Right. No, I think that's a really good point that we can add as a focus point. Really is, right now it's going through a really tough time because and I'm speaking to one of the residents on College. This is a real inconvenience for those folks. I get it. It's a huge inconvenience. It's literally a construction project going in their front yards. But at the end of the day, we're going to have something that gives people, to Ron's point, something like 40% of the residences in Bethany have access to probably their primary route to get to the beach, particularly if they're walking.
Or biking.
Or biking. And now we're going to have a safer way that reduces risk. So that's a huge accomplishment, and that might even be something where we, it's almost like a little celebration or highlight point around that.
Ribbon
So
cutting.
Thank you, Ron.
We could do a ribbon cutting.
Yeah. So great. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Okay, so again, this is just, I know there's work going on, and we'll be adding to this as we go. This was a poll that I think came out that you all used before and seen. This was on one of the one of the TVs. This is what I was thinking about. I think the team was looking at sort of the cadence of all these events that are coming up. So what I propose we do is sort of look at, build off this, and what are the events that, you know, movie night, family night, whatever, what are they, the time, and then we can decide who is available.
Yeah.
And just to do like a 1 minute tops public service announcement. I think it would be helpful to sort of show something maybe quick, but also put a face to it in terms of conversation with people.
So
But we can build that out based on this.
I think for the most part, the movies are on Mondays, right? And the concerts are on Thursdays.
Right.
So when you're looking at your calendar, just look at Mondays and Thursdays.
Right.
And Mondays, I think we already do the wave video, right? For the,
Yeah, it comes up as a credit
Oh,
before,
okay.
before the shows.
right.
That'll
So
be
I don't know that we need to
Snippet.
speak before the
Yeah,
movies.
no, I don't think so.
We have that covered.
Yep. Yep. So, Art, if you could that be build the spreadsheet out a little bit with those?
In others, do you want to just, I mean, my question would be, okay, the movies, we've got the wave video embedded
As
in
a
the
wave video, yeah.
presentation at the moment, right?
Yes.
So is there a need for us to have a presence there at a table as well?
I don't think so.
Okay, so movies then we can pretty much take out of the
Disagree.
equation at this point because we got the video. So then the other question would be, do we need to have a table or a speaker or something for Thursday night before the concerts, or? I don't know, I'm asking.
You can, I would suggest you can make your quick announcement after I make the announcement of the band, and then if anybody wants more information, you can direct them to the table. We could set up a table if you want for
Right.
an hour or so.
Right,
Whatever the group thinks would be best.
yeah.
Is it possible just to throw a few T-shirts into the audience?
To throw them, like, get a T-shirt launcher, add that to the budget, Mickey.
Just a few, just two.
Yeah. You know, those things, no, but what I'm thinking about, you know, I think whether we actually utilize all those times or not, I think
Yeah.
if we just block them out as potentials, because there
Yeah.
might be something that happens
Yeah.
in the community. There might be an event, there might be something happens in another community that might be worthwhile sharing
Yeah.
as a, hey, as a reminder, we had a situation that happened in Dewey, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and we want to, let's learn from that, you know, you all are here, that kind of thing.
I
So
think
we-
that would be more relatable and less preachable.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
people
That
would-
makes more
yeah,
sense.
Yeah. So-
appreciate that.
As need be.
As needed, yeah. Okay,
If I'm understanding it correctly, what I'll do is I'll just expand the spreadsheet to add an additional row for each one of the Thursday
Yeah.
night activities, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there in terms of coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one looks really good, this Dave Matthews tribute band.
Yes, it does.
So I'm guessing that'll probably be very well attended.
Yeah.
And we can kind of go from there. And for the movie nights, again, if we're playing the video, again, I don't think I need to add a separate row for each one of those
yeah,
nights. But we'll just put something like, you know, a wave video being shown before it or whatever to just show that we're at least touching base on the activity.
yeah. Although, Art, I might, and I'm not trying to get in the weeds here, but it might actually be helpful to have sort of just a line for each of those, so that if somebody wants to sign up for it,
Okay.
like
Sure.
Monday next week kind of thing, versus just in general, you know, we can all,
Sure.
So if you want to put a table out for one reason or another on a movie night, is that what we're saying?
yeah, I guess, yeah. I'm not even sure we want to necessarily even go to the table person. I was thinking even more informal, just.
Oh, just walk around and just be aware.
Yeah.
Like
Quick
a
introduction
t-shirt or
kind of thing,
whatever.
and-
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because the movie nights are on the beach, so
Yeah.
you didn't really have that captive audience. They're in a
And
different
we have the
different
video,
mode.
we have
Yeah.
the video going.
And the video comes on, so
Yeah,
that's sort of
yeah.
overkill, I
Good.
think.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'll just build a spreadsheet out with lines for each one of the
Yeah.
movie nights and each one of the concert nights, and then we'll go from there. How about that?
Cool. Cool. Okay. So the next one, this is just an update on our rapid rectangular flashing beacons. We're moving ahead. I saw one of the Representative Gray put in something in his news flash about early,
Soon.
soon, yeah.
Right, soon.
So that's for Ashwood, that'll be in place.
Yeah.
And then we're going to continue, the council is continuing to look at potentially another one on the north side of town. So that's definitely on our, that was actually a topic we talked about at our last council meeting. So there'll be more to come on that. Carl?
I'm just going to bring up that the first flashing beacon is going to go up at Fresh Pond North in the fall of 2024, and the other two, which is let's see, Fresh Pond South and Indian Harbor Villas are going to go in spring of 2025.
Okay. So we're going to get there in just a second. This is really just specifically in Bethany. So.
There'll also be one on Kent Avenue, I think it,
As part of the Collins Street project, there is a flashing beacon going at Collins, so you can get over by the library, so you can cross Kent to get to Wellington.
Yeah, that's good. True. This is really thinking about this corridor, but you're right. We'll have them there. So, Julie, anything? I know this is actually one we can put on our probably complete. This is one we started talking about last year with the app for the town,
Yeah, so if you go to, I showed it last meeting, but if you go to bethanylife.app and you go under, let's see, the homepage, go to a day at the beach and click on safety information, and you'll see there's a separate tab just for WAVE.
Yep.
And then from there, you'll see it's the whole rundown of what WAVE is all about.
Yep.
So I could find out if there's any room for adding a PDF like you suggested with the chart there, to see if we want to update it. But from now, it's loaded with information, and it's very user-friendly.
Yeah. So we have, thanks, Julie. That's really going to be helpful for the folks who like to go get something and very tech savvy kind of thing. We've also gave new birth to the town newsletter over the last year, and we'll be speaking of including something for our team in this current one. So great work around communication. Again, just finding ways to engage with people electronically or some format. Community engagement activities. I don't think we have any of those lined up yet. So I just asked the team members, if you have your group, your community that you'd like to have a interaction with some of our team, please just let us know, and we will schedule that and get it on the docket. I think with everything else going on, we really haven't spent much time focusing on that, but okay? Cool. So the last one is just the last segment. So this really speaks to a little bit of what Carl was speaking to, and I'd ask Art to speak to this a little bit. We recently had a symposium or workshop with DelDOT at the library around the corridor. So I know Teresa was there. I got there late, but Art, if you want to.
Yes. Again, I was lucky to attend the program, and I was very impressed with the number of people from the community that were there. Again, it was held at South Coastal Library, and DelDOT did a beautiful job of setting up the whole event. They had nice poster boards of their proposal, again, but the current situation, what they're proposing. Those were all around the room, which was very nice. Their speakers were very informative, and they laid out their thoughts in terms of the feedback they've gotten from the community and what they're proposing moving forward. Now, I was very impressed with the detail that they had put into this, and they had also mentioned that they had been, I guess, monitoring the situation and found that many, I guess a very high percentage of the drivers between the Indian River Inlet Bridge and Bethany itself were going well above 60. I think it was like a high percentage were going above 65. And this was a very large concern. And just listening to the audience and from my own experience talking with people in this area, I think speed is a huge concern. Again, if you've got children crossing the highway, anybody crossing the highway, or bikers making a U-turn to come back, if people are going well above the speed limit, that is a huge problem.
Right.
And, again, if you're making a U-turn, you're making assumptions in terms of how fast that car that's coming from the other direction is going.
Yep.
And if you're assuming 55 and they're going 75, there's a big problem. So again, the audience was overwhelmingly in favor of the speed reduction proposal, and it's all laid out there in details. I don't want to try and get ahead of DelDOT, but what I will say is that all the information is out there. They have a North Bethany bicycle and pedestrian corridor study out on their website, and on this site they have a lot of detailed information about what they're doing and coming up with, and I would encourage anybody that hasn't had the opportunity to do so to consider responding to the public survey option that is available on this site. And I can send the site back out to everybody. Mickey included it in an email message that he sent us out on April 23rd. But if you'd like, would people like me to send this again?
Please.
I would be happy to. But again, one of the things that's nice about this is they do ask some questions that specifically are trying to quantify the community's interest in various aspects of this. But there's also a nice-sized text box at the end, and in turn, you can put in what your thoughts are regarding what needs to be done. And for example, like in my case, I typed out a lot of information in Word, and then I copied and pasted it. I was a little concerned about exactly how much text it would accept, but it did. It took it all, and I was very impressed. But again, my largest concern is, again, just trying to reduce the speed. I think that's just imperative, and I think, you know, it's one thing to put signs up there or something like that, but I think the most important part, at least short term, is enforcement. I mean, again, if people, you know, are told it's 55 and they continue to go 60, 65, 70, that's a problem. So what I was encourage them, and all these plans from DelDOT are great, but they look, I think, at least they're kind of well into the future before any of this can be implemented, because it's a proposal and the public has to have a chance to comment, and then the comments have to be reviewed, and it's a process, I get that.
Right.
But as far as the summer coming up, what I'm hoping is that there will be, you know, state police out there on the stretch from Bethany up to the Indian River Inlet Bridge, just to deter people from bad behavior, for lack of a better term. Because I think there's a need for it, I really do. And whereas speed cameras and things like that would send the message very quickly, again, that's well into the future. I don't think we can rely on that anytime soon. But again, you don't have to be there constantly, but just having, you know, police out there, word will get around. Especially if some people get pulled over.
Sure.
Yes, that message will be delivered very quickly. And I think it will deter a lot of people from doing things that they shouldn't, and I'm hoping that that will be taken into consideration in terms of this summer. Because these other things are great, but as Carl mentioned, you know, the fall is when, you know, that one radar beacon area will go in, and then a couple more in the future. And
spring.
some of these other things are great, but it's going to take time. So there's like the short-term aspect to this, and then there's a long-term aspect to this. But again, I was very impressed with the communities, and I think that message was coming across in the question and answer session, as people wanted to see action now to slow people down. So
That was one of the points they made, is that there's things that they can do right away or fairly quickly, is reduce the speed limit. That can be done right away, but if you're looking at putting up a barrier between pedestrians, bicyclists, and cars, that's probably a multi-year project. That'll take 5 or 6 years. But their striping can be done fairly quickly, and speed limits can be altered fairly quickly, and enforcement can be, you know, added, but you know, still the state police are stretched pretty thin.
yeah, and it's not perfect, but I think if we can just have some presence there, I think that would help, because again, what you want to do is deliver a message. I mean, when I go north, I always have certain areas where I know the police have been out in the past, and in turn, that's in my memory bank. So I'm more cautious when I'm going through there.
So really two comments, and this has a chart of, Carl, I think what you were referring to, where these are going to be. That's at least the one we had a couple months ago. I think that's the same.
That's it. Yeah.
So I want to give a shout out to Seth Hammond. Seth has done an amazing job of organizing those communities north of Bethany. Those are all individual, separate communities. They have their own separate governance, HOA, whatever they are. And he's really created truly a North Bethany coalition to help drive this, because a lot of those folks, I mean, obviously we're going north and back on the road, but he's got all his people that live up there. They're trying to navigate, come south, go across. And so all this is really, again, a shout out to see that it's progressed to, as Art said, a really great amount of work by DelDOT to lay out short-term and long-term. So, you know, I think the other key thing just to point out, and they are talking about installing these, you know, rapid flashing rectangular beacons, right? And a question I had to them back a couple years ago, and actually at this most recent one, is if you're going to put those in, you really have got to do that in conjunction with a lower speed limit. You can't depend on those to lower the speed limit. You got to lower the speed limit, because that's, our data would tell us, right, we've had more collisions of cars hitting each other just in Bethany, right?
Yeah.
So that could be catastrophic when you're going 65 and over. So that, it sounded like that's all going to happen in concert. And then there's an opportunity for even longer term, you know, approaches to creating safe spots on that, so going forward. So great work, and just to highlight, yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
Well, I'm glad you pulled this up, because DelDOT emphasized that they really do pay attention to these survey results. They read them, they read all the comments, and they very much take them into account. So please fill out the survey, please have your neighbors fill out the survey, because it matters in how this project ultimately turns out.
Right.
Yeah, the survey and the comment period is open until June 7th.
Thank you. So this is actually a picture from last year, but it was just as a reminder for our July 4th. So we're thinking about, rather than an entry in the parade, we'll have a table? Is that our thinking?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm not sure if we have enough people to do the parade.
Okay.
Because you and I will be in the council trolley. We don't have anybody to hold the banners, because that was Diane's granddaughter's last year. So,
Carl's,
yeah, and Carl's grandson helped us hand out our giveaways. So I don't know if we have enough people.
So,
Unless we just load everybody in a car and maybe somehow drape that banner around the car, we could do that.
so what I'd offer, again, that the intent with this wasn't to solve it today.
Yeah.
Let's just recognize it's coming up. Let's think about how we want to be represented. We've got obviously 100
Bike lights.
bike lights that we can hand out, courtesy of Chief Foley. So that would be, if we can create either way, it's an opportunity to get the message out, whether it's on a rolling vehicle or a spot or whatever. So,
Right, it was just a little chaotic at the end, like we're
Yeah.
approaching the parade last year, and I'd like to be more organized this
yeah.
year.
First time.
It was the first time.
But we do have the banner at least.
We do have the banner and the magnets.
And, oh, that's right, the car magnet.
Yeah.
The best part was with David. He's like, "Where should I go?" It is in the convertible, and I said, "I don't know, David. I guess back here." But it all worked out, and we had fun and got the message
Yeah,
out.
he had
so.
a good gig. He just sat in the air-conditioned car.
Waving.
That's right.
So the last one, last really order of business is we have an opportunity to include something in the Bethany Beach newsletter, a little segment. And Teresa has took this baby by the horns and put together a draft of that, which I think looks great.
Right, I have updated it since,
This one?
yeah. This is not the most recent, because this one, I completely forgot to put the North Bethany stuff,
Yeah.
the survey in. So
Yeah.
now it's in,
So, and I again, I
which isn't how
grabbed
we
it.
got here in the first place.
I grabbed it late, so I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So,
I got it to you late.
let's just do this. Teresa, can you send
Sure.
your
Yes.
draft to everybody?
Everybody?
If you
Sure.
have any upgrades to it, I think we're 90% there, if
Yeah.
not there. But that way it can come from all of us as a team.
Yep.
And we'll put it in the next, I think there's a newsletter coming out
I mean,
at some point.
I think they'd like to get it out
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Like in the next,
Tomorrow. Well, you're talking about, because this
Oh, well,
references
I mean-
the, Memorial Day weekend.
yeah, so I might have to change that, but yeah.
Yeah. So if you can just,
Yeah.
Teresa, share your latest copy,
I
and
will do
we'll,
that.
if you have any upgrades, if you're fine with it, we're
Yeah.
good. And Teresa, thank you for, this all sort of came about sort of quick.
Yep.
And I was thinking you and I would put together a draft. You said, no, I'm going to do it over the weekend.
Yeah, no.
And then it happened, so it was great. So thank you.
Check.
Lastly, this is the last thing on the agenda, and these are just, June 27th is a time I think we had agreed to before.
Okay.
But from July on are tentative dates. I'd ask you to take a look at these just for how they fit your schedules. And if you could just give Teresa and I some feedback.
9/19 we'll have to move. We'll have to do it the week after, I think.
Yeah.
And also, July 25th, if we have the safety checkpoint
Yeah.
that day.
I find that's gonna be
Oh,
hard.
that's the same day, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, all right, so.
That's true. Thank you,
Change.
Mart. So, okay, let's change, why don't we change the 25th to the 24th, just from talking purposes?
All right, we'll have to confirm.
Oh, no, no, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that works for everybody. And I know that 19th was a day before the town
Right,
council.
so we could do the week after,
Yeah,
the 26th.
yeah.
I don't know if that, I don't know how far out your schedule books.
No, I'd like to try to get it, I know I personally, we're gonna be in South Africa that time,
Oh,
so
so
I
that
was
doesn't work
trying
for
to manage, but that's okay. What, the key is, I'd like toward the end, whether it's September or October, for us to use it as a time, like we did last year, sort of a reflection, let's step back a
Sure.
little bit, and then let's think about where do we wanna go next year, and start doing some, so,
So maybe we do that in October then.
let's do that in October,
Yeah.
okay? And, okay. I'll send out a revised list with the June 20, well, that's already on the docket, July 24th, August 29th, 9/26, and 10/24, and just see where you all are with it. I mean,
Okay.
then we can, so, any other issues, concerns from anyone on the team?
Terry has a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Terry.
I'm sitting here and I was thinking of something, I just wanted to mention it. I told Ron as he left, because he kind of gave me some inspiration. But one of the things they have in the state planning office is called Safe Routes to School. And after Ron spoke, I thought, why couldn't we develop a map, something like what we have for the trolley, but call it Safe Routes to the Beach?
Oh, that's a
And
great
then you
idea.
could mark on there, like, the flashing beacon, where rapidly flashing beacon lights are, where, like, you can highlight the Collins pathway to the beach, and maybe kind of, I mean, I wouldn't dream of doing it, but maybe between the police and the committee, we could figure out what would be a safe route on the northeast, the northwest side, how to get
Right.
over and where to cross on this
Right.
side.
Right.
So that just popped into my head, and before I lost it, like I do so many things.
That is
I wanted to
outstanding.
share.
That's really helpful for these handouts,
That'd be
just to people,
awesome.
because everyone would grab that and be willing to talk about it, yeah.
Well, and, Central has a bike path, and what's the street that's all the way south? Oakwood or Cedarwood, or? That has a bike path.
You can identify where there's white.
Right,
In fact, in our comp plan, we have where sidewalks are. So
right.
It's a very, not connected, there's not a lot of connectivity.
Right.
But if something like that took off, it could also expand into like a bigger area, like Delta could adopt that. Because certainly here, it's very pertinent. I mean, we have accidents every year where
Right.
people are injured. So let's identify where the safest places are to cross, and maybe that's a solution. It could become statewide. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's great,
It
Terry.
could-
That is fantastic. Great insight. Yep.
If
love
for
it,
the
the
beach area,
visual.
it's as important as the school.
Right.
the Safe
It-
routes to
it
school.
ties
I
so
think.
many things together. It ties together hey, Ron, thanks again as always, sir. It ties again, the visual as well as all the work we're doing, right? And to promote that. So,
Well, and that is we had a comment about that in one of our council meetings. Somebody stood up and asked if there could be a map of the trails once Collins Street is finished.
But
Yep.
you could expand that not only to this area, but like the North Bethany project, all of that could be expanded, and DelDOT might help us do it.
yeah. So,
Terry, go ahead.
go ahead.
Terry, while I've got you, last meeting we talked about the fact that the town had attained approval for the reduction of the speed limit on Route 26 to be reduced to 30 miles per hour, and they were just waiting for the signs to come in, is that?
I'm not sure where that stands. I can check with Brett and
Okay.
try to have it, I'll convey it like in an email to everybody.
That would be helpful. The other thought I just was wondering is, in other words, in terms of what parts of 26 are going to be reduced to 30, will that extend all the way through Millville, or is it
No,
just Bethany?
It's just Bethany,
Okay, so basically out to the bridge.
to the canal bridge. Yep.
Okay, thank you. And I'll update the spreadsheet this afternoon and send it back out to everybody.
Oh, that's
for
great.
Wednesday.
Thank you, Art. Yeah, I mean, at your convenience, that's great. There's something else that popped in, but it popped out, so I guess it's not important. Okay, any other issues, any concerns from anyone? Again, Mark, you okay? All right. Julie? Thank you all again. This is such a, I keep saying this, but I really mean it. It's so much fun working with you all because everybody really is trying to do the right thing and make a difference, and it's so energizing to be around you all. So thanks for everybody's efforts, and we'll keep plugging away and do the best we can, and make a difference, right? Make a difference. Okay, you all, have a good day. Thank you. Will, appreciate all your help. Oh, that's all right. I'm sorry. Those Robert's rules again, it's coming back to get me. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Mark first,
Second.
Earl second, and
All in
vote.
favor.
It looks like we're unanimous. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Will, thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Chrissy, thanks for capturing everything. Terry, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You just go to
Good meeting.
BethanyLife.app.